Happened in the 90s.
Introducing Doritos 3Ds. A whole new shape that begs to be eaten. In very loud ways.
Bye, Chihuahua.
Doritos 3D snacks. Same loud taste, new loud shape.
Dude, there are people that we know personally that have hated Ben Roethlisberger his whole career, from playing in Finley and crushing them. Like my cousins played against Ben Roethlisberger at Sandusky, and he fucking crushed them. Then he went to University of Miami. He crushed Bowling Green when we had Urban Meyer as the coach. Yeah, he fucking went through us. And then, a lot of those Bowling Green people are Browns fans, and routinely he's whipped their ass pretty much most of his career.
I mean, it's easy work when
it's easy work
when you get out of Ohio. It just is what it is. But it is nice.
Crazy.
I don't like him anymore. I can, it's fine.
Oh.
He's not as good, but I will support him as a quarterback until he retires. I hope it's soon. But loved just having him there, just to really just shred Cleveland. Every time I thought Cleveland was going to come up and the Browns fans could just talk shit to me, he just take care of that. So if nothing else, Ben Roethlisberger's done a great job at shutting Browns fans up for me, which, as you well know, Steve, is one of the hardest things to do, period. They won't shut up ever.
They won't.
When they lose, it's worse. I'm not hearing a lot of shit talking with all the success from the people that I usually hear shit talk. So
see, that's the thing. Like when you're winning, you're focusing on the winning aspect of the game, and there's no time to sling mud because you're just so elated with joy. And like when I lived in Houston, man, I heard a lot of shit talk from these Texans fans about Cowboys. And it's like, we're not in the same conference. We're not in the same division. We play you once. It's not a rivalry. And y'all ain't got shit. Y'all ain't got shit. Y'all haven't won anything. Even if you combine the history of the Oilers, still ain't won shit. Warren Moon.
Now it's like, we got to talk shit. Now you're in shambles. You lost the greatest player you ever took to Arizona. JJ Watt's gone.
You lost
Deshaun Watson. Who know? He ain't playing for that team. I know that. I don't know if he'll ever play again or if he'll ever be free. Does he face jail, or are these all lawsuits?
Dude, this is all a smear campaign by the McNair family, because they know that he wanted out. They traded away his best target. I think he went to the Cardinals, the wide receiver.
Oh, DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, they traded away his top target, and JJ Watt was already gone. So it's like, dude, what? I can't win here. What the fuck? Andre Johnson's gone. Who am I going to throw to?
Yeah, and then Deshaun Watson was like, dude, I'm so stressed out. I got to get somebody to play with my ass. Hold on, guys.
Exactly. So
I'm just fucking with you.
Well, like the McNair family, they have a pretty rocky history if you look into them, man, but they don't want to talk about that. And so what they want to do now is basically devalue his skills, man, and make him seem like a lesser than in the market.
Are they? Is the man getting paid? Because I mean, he has not been fired, and he is. I mean, no. I guess he's suspended or something, but I'm assuming he's getting paid at this moment in some way, right?
In some way, yeah, dude. And this is crazy. Just the way. Yeah, I think. So, this is the way
Steve? Are you saying that that's not real at all? Like that the things that people are saying, or they're just like being brought to light more so because he's about to leave Houston, and that was going to be the case?
I think that's what it is, man. I mean, the shit that he was doing, it was like, oh, everything is fine. We'll sweep it under the rug. You're a great quarterback, and you can get us to the playoffs. Blah blah blah. And it's like, I want to leave. Oh well, hold up.
I want out.
Let's check. Let's check the call logs.
I mean, I remember that does happen though, because I mean, I remember it in the opposite way with the Steelers, where when we had Antonio Brown and everything was great, you never heard how that guy was a lunatic. And maybe he is or isn't a lunatic, or he was going through some shit. But as soon as he was not going to be on that team, they were like, let all the bad news come out. We'll like release every bad story about this guy from the Steelers that we possibly can, so we can get the stink on this dude and get some of the money, or like not lose as much money on the investment we made. Who knows what the actual shit is, but
I mean, in reality though, man, Anthony AB, he didn't do himself any favors though.
No, but I'll say this now: the motherfucker got it. He came back from the dead.
He did, and thanks to Tom Brady, I'll give credit to Brady on that, because he wanted him in New England, and he fucked that off. And it's like, all right, bro. I think Tom Brady had a heart-to-heart with dude. Like, look, dude, I want you in Tampa, but you got to show up, man, and not show out.
Yeah, we can't. Please, just like don't be on the news. Just do you behind the scenes. Like it can't be that bad, because if you like when he was at the height of his success in Pittsburgh, that guy was like a golden child. He was on Madden curse in a full effect. His things always like call God and shit. Like it was very not a bad guy persona. He was like very much like a kid. Everybody loved him, kids, everybody. They were like, this guy's a great guy. And then he's like, oh, he's a psychopathic prima donna who will just straight up throw down if you get in his way and shit. I mean, I don't know, but I'm glad to honestly, no shit at all. I don't like how he left Pittsburgh, but you can't argue with how good he made our team. And look how good he is. The guy's a fucking probably one of the best wide receivers of all time.
Well, he's one of them. I mean, Jerry
in terms
Rice,
of talent, I wouldn't say like the numbers don't necessarily dictate that, like especially with championships. But when you watch him like make a 5-yard catch and turn it into a touchdown because of just how good he is, it's like hard to argue with how good that guy is.
Dude, he ripped the Cowboys apart in week 1. I can't take that away from him, man. And I just, when you go up against a Super Bowl winning quarterback who's got a proven record, like, hey, man, you can't, in the court of public opinion, you're not going to win. Like he was already here and he's got 2 rings for this franchise, and you're going to publicly shame him or try to. It's like, it's not going to work in your favor, bro. That's just
well, and I mean, the AB actually this year came out and was like, all the success I have is because of Ben Roethlisberger. So he sort of came back, and it seems like maybe whatever, people go through shit. I act erratically when I'm going through a bunch of shit. So who knows? That's the only thing that I always hate. We kind of talk about it before, and it's why I've sort of I don't hate, but I hate to love NFL so much or get so emotionally invested in it, because the guys playing the game are like young dudes. So like an erratic acting 20-year-old, oh, hey, I used to be one of those guys. So it's hard to like criticize that shit or even know what's going on, because a dude that's making $10 million a year or whatever, I have no idea what kind of problem. I would assume you have no problems, but who knows? Could be just that much worse.
And I was thinking the other day, man, Ben Roethlisberger's draft class might be like the last great draft class, man, because that was him, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, the guy that the guard that the Browns drafted. Was he that year? Joe Thomas,
maybe. I mean, I know that as far as quarterbacks go, that's one of the greatest you're going to get as terms of success. There's a bunch of Super Bowls in there. And you can say what you will about Phillip Rivers, but I mean, he put up.
Dude, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. He was a Hall of Famer 10 years ago.
I think
and he's still playing.
The Colts are kind of pissed that he retired, because they're like, man, we were pretty good last year with you. Like when
he did retire. Dude, that shows you how much.
I mean, he ain't playing. He ain't starting. They let Carson Wentz start. So, and he's not in after Carson Wentz got injured. So I do think he retired.
Okay. Well, yeah, he's solidified, man. It's just, he played for the Chargers. They're never going to win.
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck about him. I was telling that to somebody last week, because my father-in-law just went to the Browns game. Like to get tickets to a Chargers game out here. I know the stadium's gigantic, but nobody gives a fuck about sports teams in LA unless it's the Dodgers or the Lakers. They could give a fuck.
Those are king right there.
But in terms of football, I think it's maybe because they like the Rams got taken away, Oakland, and the Raiders get, they go to Oakland and shit. So they just have a bad taste in their mouth. And the teams that are here now, I'm sure there are fans, but they ain't filling up the stadium. There's probably like 75% Browns fans.
Yeah, it's hard to split your priorities, man, when like the Lakers and the Dodgers have been here forever.
Yeah.
And they got history.
Everybody, there's people that don't live in LA, like in California, that love those teams historically because of how successful they are and stuff. And I don't know. I just think it's funny when you live in a town with like the greatest football stadium of all time and the 2 football teams and nobody could give 2 fucks. It's like you could get tickets to that like it's some fucking shitty opera show on a Sunday night. It's fucking weird. Try to get Dallas Cowboys tickets. I don't know. I'm sure you could get them, but I'm sure I could have gotten a $30 ticket, Steve. I was offered to go and I was like, you know what? I'm good.
At Kroger.
If I get COVID, I'd rather get it from somebody that's not a Browns.
Hey, you can submit a receipt. This receipt serves good as a Chargers ticket.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. It's probably what it. How like Cedar Point, you can get in free with like a Coke can or whatever. That's what it is.
Some shit like that. Yeah.
That'll be $6.
Okay, and how much is that in pubes?
Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about things that happened in the 90s. So get out your Deftones souvenirs and your Dunkaroos because we're coming back. Oh, coming back around the fur.
Jordan's going to love that, Steve.
He doesn't even watch it. Yeah. I know you heard that a lot blaring through the fucking house.
I don't know what is like. There's like that genre of music. First of all, what do you call that?
It was
Is it NuMetal?
That they are like Deftones and Korn were like the godfathers of NuMetal because they both started in the mid 90s and they garnered in that mix of rap, rock, and screaming and real. They kind of took the baton from the grunge era because everybody was wearing their cardigans and wanted to be the next Cobain after he died. And Cobain died in 94. So it's like, what do we do now? Oh,
we're mad now, Steve.
We're mad.
That's when we all got collectively as men got real fucking mad.
We got dejected. We didn't get laid enough. We didn't get laid at all. And we wanted to hear some screaming. We wanted to hear some rap lyrics over some loud guitar with reverb. And Deftones was here. Korn was here. I'm not
getting pussy.
Exactly. And not getting the nookie. Limp Bizkit was here. They did it for us. They didn't do it for the nookie. They did it for us. Angsty ass pre-adolescents and teens.
Yeah, I was obviously knowing our friend Jordan. I got to hear Deftones a lot. I was a fan of Deftones. I'm not going to say I am now. I'm not going back and listening to it, but shout out to Chino. Shout out
Chino Marino.
I hope you're okay. I hope you're still screaming. I can't imagine you can keep that up too long, but God bless.
Well, Deftones is one of those bands that kind of veered off into like a different sound. When the White Pony came out, I didn't care for it at first, but it grew on me because like I bought that in the store expecting Around the Fur or Adrenaline, and it wasn't. It had like little samples of that, man, but it had
it's like you never.
That song is my shit, though.
Now you feel so alive, dude.
Cause back in school, we are the
some pussy. but hey, I bought that too. I mean, I fully invested in Deftones because Jordan sold them so well. And, I don't remember what the album was that he would play, but I bought White Pony and I maybe like 3 songs off White Pony. So
only 3?
That's an exaggeration probably, but
the song you did with Maynard,
the
song with Maynard on it, Passenger.
I think I remember that, but
Passenger.
I mean, Change or whatever. I've watched you change, or I remember Wings or whatever the fuck that song is. That I remember that one.
Cause back in school, we are the lead. Well, we're gonna be talking about all things October 28th in the 90s.
Steve, you are my best friend. The thick and thin, we'll always be together. Dude, that's like, I forgot how awesome Halloween specials used to be. I've stopped watching regular television, but these ones, especially, both of them, love them. So
yeah, and they're kind of like the Bloods and Crips of 90s animated sitcoms, man. It's the Matt Groening gang against Trey Parker, Matt Stone, and those dudes, Parker and Stone, are pretty petty, so they throw stones when they can. Even at Seth, they'll throw stones at Seth, and Seth will take the high road, like, those guys are just being those guys.
I feel like they gave flowers to the Simpsons, though, maybe just like making fun of how prolific they are in terms of writing with that, Simpsons did it episode where, everything's a Simpsons episode. So
they've done everything. I feel
like they did have they butted heads because they were competing, but I feel like Trey Parker, they have to respect Matt Groening.
You got to, even Seth. I mean, anybody that's in that world, man, you got to give flowers to Matt Groening. He's the OG of this shit. I mean, the first primetime sitcom, animated sitcom since the Flintstones, wasn't it?
I don't think anybody gives the dude credit, but he made Futurama too, and that was like a very prolific show. But yeah, I mean, the dude created something that's still going on. He's dead. I think Matt Groening's dead, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he isn't.
He's not. Somebody died that used to write The Simpsons. I know that.
Well, the lady that was Mrs. Crabapple, was it? Was it Crabapple? Crabapple? Yeah, she's dead. The voice actor. But Matt
you're
Groening's
right. Matt Groening, live and well. He's 67 years old. So shout out, Matt. Sorry about that.
Yeah. That would have been big news.
I think somebody died that was associated, but again, who cares? Let's not focus on death, Steve. Let's focus on rebirth or ghosts and Halloween.
You need to know your Matts, man.
I apologize to Matt. I'm glad you're still alive.
For the sake of the Matt,
keep it going, keep pushing.
Because I know about my Steves.
You certainly do. I don't even know what that means, but
even the fictional ones, like Jaleel White's still with us, and so is Steve Martin and Steve Harvey.
You know what I love about Jaleel White? Getting into the weed game, and I love that.
Purple Urkel.
I want to smoke it before you can buy it out here, so I want to buy a joint. Just give me some Purple Urkel before I head out.
You must.
I have to.
I need to hear the review, man.
I've already had the Jay and Silent Bob joint. I've been a weed smoker for, since I was 17, I think, really like a pretty regular one. Still fully into the lame, newbie weed shit. Like, oh my God, Jay and Silent Bob have a joint. Gotta get it.
That's how I would be, man. If we had those kind of shits here, man, I totally get the Purple Urkel and the J.
I can't believe that Atlanta, of all places, is not just straight up fully legalized the shit to the point where it's like LA.
Well, I mean, it's still the South, and it's kind of like when in Houston, man. Yeah, Houston's a metropolis in a way. Atlanta's more of a metropolis, but it's Texas. I mean, there's 11 different Amarillas and Fort Worths and all Beaumonts. The same thing here in Georgia, man. Yeah, Atlanta's the shit, but you got Macon, Columbus, Georgia,
Savannah.
Savannah, Piccadilly, Georgia, Sassafras, Georgia.
Oh, I'm gonna be moving out of this weed paradise, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm moving to a place where it's medically legal, and also Washington D.C., which is very close, has it. So if I need it, I'm sure I'll be okay though. That's the nice thing about weed. If you got to give it up for a while, it ain't that hard. It ain't like cigs, which it's like been 15 years, and I like to this day, if somebody was like, okay, you get like something bad happened or like that, whatever. I get that urge. I'm like, ooh, I would love one.
What's the longest you think you can go without weed?
I mean, when I used to have it hasn't, sadly, it's been like 2 years since I've seen my parents, but when I used to go to their place, like, and fly across the country, sometimes I would only take edibles for like the plane ride. So I'd go a week. But I don't know, dude. When I got cancer, I couldn't do anything and I had to stop immediately. And it's going to be different now, but to be honest with you, once you get past a day and you just realize, oh, it's not that bad. It sucks. Man. I'm probably going to be irritable for a few days, but I got a lot of cool shit to focus on when we get there, like getting into a new place and seeing my family and stuff. So I think I'll get over it pretty easily. And we're going to take some edibles, we're going to take some shit. So I can hold, if the beast comes out, I can be like, pop. But I don't think I'm taking any weed because I'm afraid to drive across Texas with anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't want to get popped in Texas because they'll make it seem like you touch children.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm an adult. I can get over it. But weed is one thing. Cigarettes I remember that. And the only reason I got through cigarettes is that my mouth was so fucked up. I couldn't do anything for like a month. So I just got over like the chemical addiction part of it.
Dude, I had to stop for a year, man. And I don't ever want to go that long without Mary.
I'm not going to. I honestly, if it's anything, if it's hard to get, which I know it's not because my buddy lives in like the DC metro area, and here's a weird thing, Steve. Now they're figuring out, when something becomes legal in Washington, DC, take it. It's like a weird way that they got to sell it. So in Washington, DC, you don't buy the weed, you buy a t-shirt and you make a $30 donation. And then with the t-shirt, they give you weed. Well, you're not paying for the weed. You're paying for the t-shirt. So they found ways to get around the laws and shit, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I'm like you, man. I'm a lifelong head. I'm never going to give it up. I love it. It's quite honestly it controls my anger a lot. So
exactly,
that kind of thing. And it just mellows you out. Like people take Ritalin and shit for having ADHD. And this is my Ritalin, I pop an edible, I take a hit of a joint or a bowl and I'm good to go.
And how far are you going to be from DC?
It's like 2 hours, I think, but it's an easy 2 hours. You drive north, you drive east, and you're right there. It's not that bad. Oh. And it's not driving LA 2 hours where you're stuck in gridlock traffic. You're wanting to kill the person next to you in the car next to you because they're driving shittily.
God damn it! I don't care if you're old, seize the gap! You old fat bitch!
Whatever. It's an easy like country 2 hours for the most part until you get right near the airport.
And maybe you could smoke a joint with your boy Barack. I mean, hey,
I'm here.
Smoke a little J, get a little freaky dick.
I smoked the Mary. You seen it, you heard it. Michelle loves it.
Yeah, that's what me and Michelle get real freaky dick.
I think Barack, man, he ain't coming back to mainland, dude. He's sticking to that Maui Wowie, dude. Him and the family just hang out in Hawaii and just come out to make money, and that's it. They're like, we'll go back. We'll come out from Hawaii when we need like that $250,000 speak at a dinner check, and then we'll go back.
And then it's Mr. Nasty time, like Auntie Sugar and Uncle Elroy.
Thank God we have Malia and all the kids out of the house, so I can just go to town on Michelle and that ass.
Goodbye, Sasha. Goodbye, Malik. Now it's time to get this some freaky dicky shit with Michelle.
Bring that pussy in here so I can go to town.
In 2 weeks, the NBA's greatest stars come to Broadway in the show of the year. Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Grant Hill, Karl Malone, and more. The NBA All-Star Game in prime time, February 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern on NBC.
They're gonna shake and bake.
On October 28, 1993, The Simpsons are airing Treehouse Horror 4. Homer sells his soul to the devil for a donut. Bart contends with a gremlin on the side of the school bus, which only he can see, and the family discovers that Mr. Burns is a vampire.
Yes, Steve. These are the Halloween episodes. These are the good shits. These are the ones. This is like, if you talk about Treehouse of Horror specifically, the 3 that are in this episode are the ones that I remember. I remember one with aliens too. I can't fully remember. And the one where Lisa makes a society on her tooth. Do you remember that one?
I don't remember. I remember the aliens one, but not that one.
But regardless, these are the bangers, especially the first one with the donut head where Homer sells his soul for the donut. This shit, I love this one.
And this is actually the final episode that Conan O'Brien wrote for.
Man, well, he ended with a bang then, because I think this also sort of cemented, because I think, what'd you say, 4? Treehouse of Horror 4. So this is the 4th time that they've done this. And I think this really cemented this as like a thing, because now there's been many Treehouse of Horrors. They do it every Halloween. But this one especially is the one where they were so prolific of segments. I just remember these specifically.
And this was also the last Halloween episode to use bridging sequences between the segments.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's why we get the little like Twilight Zone era where they're like, Bart's the narrator and it's little shorts instead of one long episode.
Yeah.
Like I said, this first story, The Devil and Homer Simpson, for whatever reason, this is what I think of when I think of Treehouse of Horror. And when we start this, very like trippy. It's Homer's having this weird like dream, and it's like sexy women, but they're like mixed with donuts. So this is what Homer has sex dreams about: donut women.
Yeah, it's like a donut beauty pageant. And he wakes up and realizes that he's actually at work. And Carl and Lenny ate all of the donuts. So Homer says that he'd sell his soul for another donut. And Ned Flanders magically pops up dressed as Satan.
He the devil, Steve.
It's always the one you least suspect.
And all Homer cares about is, do you have another donut, motherfucker?
Yeah, I mean, we're the donuts, son. So Flanders, Satan Flanders says, I got the best donut of all time. You just got to sign on this line. And as soon as you eat that donut, I get your ass. So Homer signs, of course, that donut looks good. He eats it. But here's where Homer, he's an intelligent guy. And the least of this episode, he's like, the thing says I have to eat the donut. So I'm just going to eat everything but one bite. And then you can go ahead and suck my dick. And that's what he does. And Satan's like, he ain't happy about it, but he acknowledges, he's like, you'll be back. I'll get you eventually.
You are not smarter than me. I'll see you in hell yet, Homer Simpson.
Burns sees Satan Flanders in the surveillance and he likes the cut of his jib. But you're right, man. He does get him because Homer, he leaves that little last morsel of the donut, but he finishes it off literally in his sleep.
Yeah, he gets up and it's just in the fridge. He can eat anything. He's got a fridge full of shit. He's like, turkey sandwich, nah. And then there's just this plate with Post-it notes all over it that says, don't touch, don't eat, forbidden donut, devil donut, or whatever. And he's just like, nah, pop. And he just pops that thing like a certs.
And Ned sends him straight to hell. Homer gets chapped up, reattached, and force-fed an endless amount of donuts.
But Marge also, like, it's basically the devil comes to take him as soon as he eats that donut. But Marge or somebody's like, he needs a trial. You can't just take him. He needs a trial. So the devil agrees to some sort of legal trial for Homer's soul, but he takes Homer to hell for one night so he can see what it's like before he takes him for real. So you're right. Homer gets chopped up. A demon like straps him into a dentist seat and starts force feeding him donuts, which you think, you know, after a while you'd hate it, Steve. That's got to be hell, right? Not for Homer.
This is Homer Simpson. Yeah, he's loving it.
Fuck a hell, Steve. I want some donuts. So, I mean, he's living his life. And even the demons are like, shouldn't he be hating this? The other guy hated it after an hour. Like, what the fuck's going on here?
They met their match. When he pops up into the Simpson living room, he's in a fiery cage while court is being held on his fate. And he's going to be represented by none other than Lionel Hutz. The Court of Internal Affairs is now in session, and Lionel and Flanders agree to have bathroom breaks every half hour. And Lionel mistakenly agrees to allow Devil Flanders to select the jury. So Devil Flanders summons up Benedict Arnold, Lizzie Borden, Richard Nixon, who's not even really dead at this point, but who cares? John Wilkes Booth, Blackbeard the Pirate, John Dillinger, and the starting line of the 76 Philadelphia Flyers.
There we go. The Broad Street Bullies are there too, which is hilarious, but they show up, and I think it was the Court of Infernal Affairs, Steve, not Internal Affairs.
Infernal.
And right. Homer's lawyer, Lionel Hutz, voiced by, oh my God, Phil Hartman. I forgot about this character because obviously it doesn't exist anymore. Hilarious character, bumbling lawyer who sucks. And I think he asked for the bathroom breaks because he makes so many mistakes that he's like, I got to get a bathroom break to figure this out.
Yeah.
So he's no like my cousin Vinny, but you know, he'll get you through in like a DUI pinch, maybe. Maybe Lionel Hutz will get you out of one of those. But they start the trial. It seems like Homer is fucked. He's got fucking this like court-appointed attorney, Lionel Hutz, representing him. He's not doing a good job. I forget exactly what happens, but Lionel Hutz holds up like a contract, and he's like, the dictionary definition of a contract is a legally binding document that cannot be broken. It cannot be broken, which is completely against his case.
Yeah, he totally destroys his defense.
And as soon as he realizes that, he takes a bathroom break.
Excuse me, I must use the restroom.
But he really just makes a beeline the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
He just leaves.
He's like, you know what, I'm out. So Lionel Hutz is out. Marge steps in and is like, look, there's no way that you can own his soul. His soul was already spoken for, and I can prove it. And I forgot the note, but essentially, like I think it was their wedding vows, wasn't it?
She breaks out the photo album.
Yeah.
And, you know, in behind their wedding picture, it says that, you know, she has his soul eternally or some shit like that.
It's already spoken for, Steve. She has the pink slip to Homer's soul. It's in writing right there. So
it's in writing.
Even the devil himself can't Johnny Cochran his way out of this. So Marge saves Homer's soul, but the devil, he's like, you know what? He ain't coming to hell, but I'm going to do something here. And he flips his little wand, and then we cut to breakfast the next day. Homer's alive and well. Everyone's eating breakfast. But then when they show Homer, his head's become a giant donut. And I don't know how long he's going to last, Steve, because Homer's taking chunks of himself and eating it. So this might be a slow death. Who knows? Who knows how long that's going to last?
Yeah, they'll figure it out eventually.
Don't worry, boys. He's got to come out of there sometime.
The next story is Terror at 5.5 feet, which is a parody of the famous episode of Twilight Zone, Nightmare at 20,000 feet, in which William Shatner's character is inside an airplane watching a gremlin tear apart the wing. You know, this is one of the Twilight Zone episodes that you would see in a best of Twilight Zone. It's
and it was like referenced as a joke a lot. Like, there's something on the wing. Something. What was that?
Yeah.
Oh, it was in Ace Ventura too. That's what it was. So, I mean, it was referenced a lot.
A lot.
I was never a huge Twilight Zone fan, Steve, but I did see some of these. Some of them were good. I mean, I do.
Oh,
there's some hitters. The one with like the mask that like
with the pig mask
or whatever. Yeah, I like that one was a hitter.
Beauty in the Eye of the Beholder or some shit like that. Yeah.
That and the one where Rocky's coach is the last sole survivor of Earth, and then he's like an intelligent guy.
He just wants to read.
I can read all these books.
Yeah.
And then he just glasses breaks or whatever. So
Rod Serling was a G, man. Shout out to him too.
And I've seen some of the newer ones, and I like that kind of show. A Tales from the Crypt, a Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt was more my Twilight Zone. It came on after shit I watched on Saturdays, and it was fucking scary as fuck. So, but love Twilight Zone, love this. And in this one, Bart he's having bad dreams. Homer was having great wet dreams about sexy donuts. Bart's having bad dreams, and he's dying. There's crusty cards involved, I believe, but in these dreams, he's suffering a bad death. But he wakes up, and he's not dead. He's just having a bad dream, but it's sticking with him.
Especially when Bart and Lisa get on the bus, and Lisa tells all the kids that her brother is going through it right now. So can everybody please take it easy on him, which leads to the whole bus clowning his ass. And when they start riding, Bart sees a little gremlin looking creature climbing up the side of the bus. But when everyone goes to check on it, they don't see anything. But when Bart is by himself, he sees the gremlin. And now Bart's even creeping Milhouse out. So Milhouse goes to sit next to the foreign exchange student, Uda. And so they tie Bart down to contain the crazy, but he's still seeing this goddamn gremlin.
Yeah, he can't get it out of his head. Nobody can see it. One sidetrack Sally that I have to call out that it doesn't exist. I want this. Who the nerd? What's the nerd's name? Martin.
Milhouse?
No, Martin. Martin is wearing a shirt that says Wang Computers that I want. Because Bart comes on and you said Lisa's like, he's having a bad time. So all the bullies like focus their attention on him, and Martin's like, whew, I thought they were going to notice my shirt. And it just says Wang Computers. And I just thought that was hilarious. But yeah, so Bart gets taped to the seat like that racist kid on that flight a few months ago. He's looking crazy, but he can see this thing, and this thing is like cutting holes in the bus. It's undoing fucking screws. So that's what gremlins do. Apparently, they undo machinery and shit or destroy machines. So he's seeing it happen, and he's trying everything he can to just alert anybody on the bus. Skinner, the bus driver that's a pothead, all of them. Nobody gives a fuck though.
It's just shredding this shit apart, man.
Yeah. And so, the gremlin's doing that. He finally gets free somehow and gets out, gets out of the bus window and starts like taking, I think, firecrackers or a flare and throwing it at it to get it off the bus. And everyone's like, this fucking kid's a lunatic. This kid's going to kill us. Fuck a gremlin. This guy's going to fucking wreck the bus. Bart knocks the gremlin off the bus, saves everybody, but the gremlin just jumps in Flanders' arms. So he knocks him off. Nobody believes him. Even when they stop the bus and it's got gouges everywhere. I'd be like, look at the fucking bus, guys.
He's sent to the madhouse. They cart him off in a straitjacket. And as he's in the back of the ambulance, he says at least he can get some rest now. But the gremlin reappears again in the rear window and shows Bart the severed head of Ned Flanders.
Dark. So yeah. Pay attention, guys. Pay attention. That's the lesson of that one. But that was another good one. And I got to say, Steve, if it doesn't exist, happened in the 90s, catch that Wang Computers t-shirt coming out very soon because I'm making that shit.
And it's crazy to think this was 93, man. at this point, Conan's show is already started. This is his final show that he wrote for. And, he's crushing it at this point, man. Because when this episode came out, his show on NBC had already started.
That's so wild to think, dude.
Yeah.
How did you do that? Did you have any life at all? Or you're just working constantly? Fuck.
Dedication and being locked in, man.
That dude is one of, like, as far as writing goes, I mean, obviously everybody knows him as a host, and I would hope people know how good of a writer he is. But the guy, anybody that can do this kind of shit and be involved in The Simpsons when it was becoming what it is, like this thing now where it's not even just a show, it's like a brand, it's established, it's never going to go away apparently. And he helped do that, and he helped like sort of restructure the way talk shows were done and shit. I mean, the dude's been so fucking prolific, so at the like front of change in entertainment, and I don't think he gets that kind of credit. Everyone likes to,
he does.
He does, but I feel like people still talk about Johnny with a reverence that I think Conan O'Brien should be the one that everyone reveres. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's older people. Like all of my friends, like if you ask like who's the GOAT when it comes to late night, most of them will say Conan, man. I'm the lonely on a lonely island with Letterman because he was a direct influence to Conan. Like anything that Conan, I'm not going to say everything Conan does is attributed to Letterman, but Letterman, he kind of took the reins from Carson as far as being like sketch heavy and having different bits, throwing things off the top of the building. That was a thing. The top 10 list, stupid pet tricks, stupid human tricks. And then incorporating your staff, Letterman, he brought in the guy that was the hot dog stand guy. He was a character. That's
wild to think too, because you see that shit now and it's like, that's standard now. Like Kimmel, it's his whole fucking family is a co-host. Conan did the same thing with just like random characters and stuff. So you are right. But my thing is, that like hosting a show and being part of that's one thing, but the guy was part of so many other The Simpsons,
SNL,
like I'm saying, like so many other things where he wasn't necessarily in front of the camera, but he was like behind the scenes, one of the main guys, like sort of writing the best shit or formulating this weird new way that they were going to do shit. So I think in that way, he deserves more credit because I think he's more of a creative person than a David Letterman, a Johnny Carson, because they had writers that helped them do that. I think he was more involved directly with that shit.
I agree.
I mean? Yeah. So, hey, Conan, I don't know what the fuck you're going to do next. I can't wait though. I every time he does something new, I get excited because he has beyond anybody else carte blanche to sort of, especially now, do whatever the fuck he wants. So hopefully it's good.
I hope he's coming to Netflix, man. Letterman came to Netflix. Like, I feel like Conan borrowed from Johnny and Letterman because he brought back the importance of the co-hosts, because Carson and Ed McMahon, they were like that, man. And then, when Conan, like Andy, that's his dude. Andy, he left for a while, but he came back because it's like, dude, you got to have it, man.
With Dave, I think he just like his co-host was Paul, though, like he would cut over to that. They use like the musicians that was a little bit more,
Yeah, he had a different approach, man. But yeah, and then.
But now I feel like Steve, do you think that those shows are they dead? Is it over? Because Jimmy Kimmel, I can't watch that. That's like, to me, they're doing it just so they can make YouTube clips to put up. I don't want to watch you talk about a movie. I don't want to watch people talk about the movie that's about to come out. I'd rather see something more funny than that. So
it's dead in the sense of wanting to watch it live. That need, that urge to watch it live. Now it's like you said. I just catch the hot takes on YouTube.
Yeah.
I really like Jimmy Kimmel's celebrities reading Twitter mentions or something like that.
But I think Jimmy Kimmel created that, didn't he?
Jimmy Kimmel, yeah, he did.
Oh, I thought you said Jimmy Fallon. My bad, dude. My bad.
Yeah,
I got high there. There's too many Jimmys. Too many Jimmys in the room here.
But with that, like, I could just catch that on YouTube. You know, like, so there's some good things. I'm not going to say it's completely dead, but it's dead in the sense of like, I'm going to watch it this night. Like, oh my God, this is who's going to be on. This is who the guests are going to be. I'm going to watch it. Like, nah, I just wait for them to upload it.
One thing I just got to say that I loved is specific to Jimmy Kimmel, and it's just because this is a personal experience, so I'm sure everybody could say this if they did it, but I got to go see a live performance of Jimmy Kimmel Live right before the pandemic started. And he does it. I don't know, like nobody that lives in LA, everybody knows where Jimmy Kimmel does his show. It's right in the middle of Hollywood. If you've watched the show, that's right in the middle of Hollywood. It's not the best place, but right behind that building, they do live concerts for the people doing, like the musicians or whoever doing their part on the show that night. And I got to see Tenacious D live, Steve, right behind a building with maybe 100 other people. So I got to see an intimate live show with Tenacious D. Amazing. And another thing I got to do, and it's very current because he's very famous right now because he's the Flash in a new Flash movie, that Ezra Miller guy. I don't know if he plays Flash in Justice League. He's been in a bunch of shit. He's like a nerdy dude. So I'm at Tenacious D. I don't have Jordan with me, who I would be rocking out with, but I can't help myself. I'm rocking out to Tenacious D. I look over and Ezra Miller is rocking out just as hard as I am. And me and Ezra Miller connected, Steve. We rocked out to Tenacious D. We dapped. He took a picture with my wife. And I got to say, the concert experience for Jimmy Kimmel, he's figured that out. He does a good job with that. I've seen live shit. Conan, too. I've seen Conan live, but it's like the one that existed right before he left TBS. So it was different. But those guys, there's something about how good they are live too, where it's just like, obviously that's a part of it. And my thing with Conan, this is a long way of saying, one, Conan to me is just greater than all those people because no matter what, behind the scenes, he's like a genius just as much as in front of the camera, where I don't think you can say that about those other dudes.
I'll smoke a bag of that. Yeah, man. And like, even though Jordan wasn't there, he was there by extension.
I was like, God, please be in the area. But it was just so Tenacious D, shout out Tenacious D. Still, it's the greatest rock band of all time. So
that's fucking teamwork.
But what I meant by that is I've told him this before, man. He looks like Jimmy Kimmel. Like I don't like no. I'm the only person that thinks this, man. Like out of all his friends, like nobody has brought this up to him. Like, dude, even back in college, man, I was like, dude, you gotta look like Jimmy Kimmel.
I mean, I guess kind of, but he has like his hair is wild. At least when I saw him. So
now, he does.
Maybe
I'm talking about all in here, not yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean. I feel like that's a compliment, Steve. So Jordan, Kimmel it up, bud.
You should, man. But the final story of the Treehouse of Horror is Bart Simpson's Dracula. Now the families are watching the news, and Kent Brockman is reporting of a killing. And by description, Lisa says that it was a vampire that did it. And throughout this story, no one listens to Lisa, which is your first mistake. She's probably the smartest person in the Simpsons universe. I mean, even more so than the scientist guy.
Yeah. Oh God.
Flavin.
Yeah, and it seems weird because she's like, he's Dracula. Don't you guys see it? Because Mr. Burns is on TV, and not only is a murder happening, side of that, Mr. Burns has bought a blood bank. And when they're like showing it on the news, the motherfucker's got blood on his, like, what are you doing with the blood, dude?
For real.
Drinking Kool-Aid or blood? What is that? So something's going on. And also what's even scarier is the guy seems to have a little Dracula in him, and he's invited him to a midnight dinner at some very fucking crazy mansion. Where, Steve? Not
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. And it is a scary place, so
I hope not Philly.
Yeah.
Bill Burr wouldn't like that.
Yeah, fucking. So they're going on their way to Mr. Burns. They get there, and I mean, I'd turn around. I'd be like, if this guy ain't Dracula, I'm not gonna be here to find out. So we're leaving.
And Lisa's not feeling it. She just feels it. She feels that she's not feeling it, and I feel it.
Trust your gut, Lisa. Get them out of there. But they don't get out of there. So they're having dinner. Fucking Mr. Burns is looking like he is. He's got a Nosferatu haircut, which if you got that, you're Dracula. There's no other, you're not out like going to a party, you're Dracula. You know, this ain't Halloween. So I feel like at that there's some moment where they're having dinner and then Bart and Lisa like sort of separate to sort of look around. Snoop around, Scooby-Doo style, right?
Yeah, but like when they're sitting at the table, what are they supposed to be drinking? Because like Lisa says, like this is blood that we're drinking, but it's red. Is it supposed to be Kool-Aid? Because these are kids, and that's something that just didn't like. That's the first thing that caught my attention. Like, okay, I get that this is a dinner, and it appears to be some red substance, but like, are you guys supposed to be drinking Kool-Aid? Is this juice? Because this is a 7 and 8 year old.
Yeah, I mean, but this is a very European party, Steve. You know, have a glass of wine. In Italy, you have some wine. It doesn't matter, 6, 8, whatever.
Yeah, it's Pennsylvania. Hey,
exactly. Maybe they are near Philly because that seems like some Philly behavior. Let your 8-year-old have some fucking alcohol. Fuck it.
Yeah, you got some hair in your chin. Here, have
Go
this.
birds.
Have this course.
Go birds.
Yeah. But they're calling Lisa's bullshit. You know, they say Bart says that Burns isn't a vampire, and even if he was, they'd never stumble upon his secret hiding place. Then he accidentally pulls a lever that unveils a secret washer and dryer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, then they see a neon sign that leads them to a secret vampire room.
Yeah, it says Burns' secret vampire room. So this motherfucker don't give a fuck. And then they get down to the secret vampire room. And unfortunately, things go a little awry, Steve, because Bart gets turned. Bart becomes a vampire.
Yeah, and before you know it, a bunch of vampires magically appear, and Burns bites Bart. Say that 3 times fast. And now Bart has bitten all of his friends who are now floating in front of Lisa's window. And Bart bursts in through it. He bursts through the window, and before he bites Lisa, Homer catches him in the act. And Bat then turns into a fucking bat. And so they realize they must kill Burns to end all of this shit. So they get him in his sleep.
Take that, vile fiend!
Dad, that's his crotch.
And then he correctly does it in his art, and then Burns turns into sludge.
Well, I mean, haven't we all wanted to plunge a stake through the dick of our boss? I mean, Homer gets 2 wins in this episode. He gets to fucking hammer his dick. And I love the reaction because I think Lisa's like, that's his groin, Dad.
Yeah.
You motherfucker. So they kill Burns. And that's what you got to do, Steve. You got to kill the head vampire. So I mean, everything's
get it at the root,
right? Everything's good. So we cut the next day. Everyone's, having some breakfast, but lo and behold, Grandpa's a vampire, and everybody else is a vampire. So who's the head vampire, Steve?
Was it Marge?
Yeah, sweet old Marge. Who knew? Who would have thought? But she's the head vampire, and Lisa ain't gonna kill that bitch.
That's Mom's.
That's Mom. You gotta just get with it. So I'm sure that, in this reality, in this multiverse of The Simpsons, that we're getting into this Marvel shit with multiverses, it's all vampires from here on in. So,
and it looks like a blue tumor growing out of my head.
Yeah, that does look fucked up. You need to see somebody about that, Steve.
Dr. Nick, everybody.
What the hell is that?
But the episode ends when they say Happy Halloween, and then they go straight into Christmas tunes because Simpsons, they're with the satire. That's how society works. As soon as those Halloween masks and the trick or treat bags go away, we go straight into that mode. That's just how this world works.
It's probably already up in your local Walmart right now, so get ready. It's about to be Christmas time.
Hey, kid. Yeah? Get the Super Bowl stuff to San Diego on time. And don't mess it up.
I'm on top of it.
I'm on top of the world. Down on creation and
Need official Super Bowl merchandise? Go to superbowl.com.
No.
An IBM e-business.
Now, that following year, Drop Squad premiered in theaters in 1994, and it's a political satire about an underground militant group that kidnaps African Americans who have sold out their race. The story follows as the group led by Bondi Curtis Hall and Ving Rhames, kidnapping an advertising executive played by Eric LaSalle, who has been providing advertising programs that belittles Blacks and women. One advertisement features Spike Lee endorsing fried chicken, which comes in a bucket with the Confederate flag draped all over it. This didn't sell well. It kind of fell on deaf ears, but I remember it when it came out because, I
don't remember that. I really don't remember this, but it sounds like it has like a Bamboozled type feel to it.
Totally. That's totally the feel. It was Bamboozled before Bamboozled. And they even went through the links of having a malt liquor promotion and throughout this, man. But it stars Eric LaSalle, Bondi Curtis Hall, Ving Rhames, Kazi Lemons. And it only got 734,000 at the box office. So I mean, it was also considered an influence to Bamboozled, which came out in 2000.
You want to talk about a dark? I wonder, is this movie as dark as Bamboozled is? Because I feel like Bamboozled. Okay, it sounds like it.
Actually, you know what? I wouldn't say it's as dark as Bamboozled. There were fatalities, man.
Is this like you mentioned like the fried chicken thing? Is it done like? Is there anybody in the movie that's reacting to how fucked up it is, or is it just all okay?
Well, that's the whole point of the militant group because they see the shit in the advertising, and Ving Rhames and Bondi Curtis Hall, they're a part of it. And Eric LaSalle plays the advertising agent, and he's just I'm just trying to do the right thing, do my job the best way, but like he's causing destruction in the Black community, and belittling women at the same time. But it's worth watching once. I bought it on DVD, and it's probably one of those things you're not going to find readily available at just any DVD store. Yeah. But and because of that, that's one of the DVDs that I kept, because it's like, man, there's no telling how I'm going to get this again. Because I had to get rid of, I had to get rid of a lot of my DVDs, man. But that was one that I had to keep. But
I mean, fuck, dude, that movie Bamboozled. I feel like you introduced that to me. Maybe I feel like you did. Maybe we watched it together, but man, you want to talk about a hard movie to fucking watch, at least for a white dude. That's fucking tough, dude. Michael Rappaport in that is like, it's just like, damn, how do you act like that and like not feel like you're about to take a fucking shot every time you say a line, dude? It's wild.
Like, well, dude, I remember what you said about Keanu Reeves. Same thing about Michael Rappaport. He's the same guy, except for the
True
John
Romance. I feel like he was an aloof, nice guy. Most of the time, he's just like a cocky, like that New York shit talking guy. Like fast talking, like, hey, fucking. He's just, he's like that.
Higher
asshole.
learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Higher learning is the only exception. Where he's like, he played Remy, the racist dude, who he wanted to be down. He just wanted some friends. He wanted to be cool with Ice Cube and Omar Epps and Busta Rhymes. But they're like, man, get your corny ass out of here. So he joined the Skinheads, and it's like, so I give credit to that, because that was totally off character for Michael Rappaport, man. Yeah. Or was it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who knows? I don't know how off character that really was, but I'd be interested to see it. I never saw. I've heard that name, and then maybe somebody I know has referenced it, and maybe probably referencing Bamboozled, but I'll have to check it out once, just like Bamboozled. I'll watch it once, and maybe I'll watch it again with somebody that's never seen it. But
only worth watching once, man. Yeah. But that following year, 95, Saturday Night Live aired the episode with a musical guest, Alanis Morissette, and your host, Gabriel Byrne. Nah.
What was the movie Gabriel Byrne? It just seems weird that Gabriel Byrne was on SNL.
I believe it was Unusual Suspects.
Oh, okay. Like, was it End of Days, the Arnold Schwarzenegger devil movie, which is also pretty dope, but
that was more in the 2000s, I believe. End of Days.
Limp Bizkit had a track on the soundtrack, and I feel like it was 99. It was probably like
99,
that, like that in that area. When did Stigmata come out? Because it came out around the same time as that.
That was like later than 95, I believe.
Gabriel Byrne, great Satan, gotta say. He plays a good Satan, so I don't know how good his SNL was. I don't really remember it too much, and I didn't watch it. So
it was decent. I watched it, and the thing with Peacock, man, they give you can't get the musical guests, the performances, but there's always sneaky links.
My wife got to see Alanis Morissette in concert like a couple of weeks ago out here in the Hollywood Bowl. And she said, and my wife's been to many concerts, that chick sounds as good as the CD. Like her live show, she can actually belt that shit out still. So shout out to Alanis Morissette.
Another Canadian.
Isn't it ironic, Steve? Don't you think?
It's like rain on your wedding day. But you know who probably wasn't watching this episode of Saturday Night Live with musical guest Alanis Morissette, hosted by Gabriel Byrne?
Who?
Probably the Atlanta Braves or the Cleveland Indians, because those fucking Braves won the 95 World Series in 6 games, making them the first major league team to win a championship for 3 different cities. The first being Boston in 1914 and then Milwaukee in 1957. This is also the final broadcast for the baseball network, which as previously mentioned was a joint venture between Major League Baseball, ABC, and NBC. This you could consider the team of the 90s. Because they were dominant. They won 14 consecutive division titles. But with all of those division titles and all of those like powerful teams, they only won 1 fucking World Series. And it just had to be against who? My soon-to-be guardian Cleveland Indians. So Stanley.
Let me guess, Steve. Was Greg Maddux involved in this? Was John Smoltz bitch ass involved in this?
The 3-headed monster, Smoltz, Maddux, Glavine. Yes, those fuckers were there. McGriff was there. The crime dog.
The crime dog.
David Justice. Hey, stop beating Halle Berry. Hey, man, come and win a World Series. He was there. Ted Turner. Ted Turner. This was at the peak of his ownership. Dude, who's actually an Ohio boy from Cincinnati.
Ted Turner?
Ted Turner's from Cincinnati.
Well, he fucked the Pittsburgh Pirates out of some NL championship wins too. So
that he did, man.
Fuck him. Fuck Greg. I just always hated Greg Maddux. Not because he's not a good person, just because every time they beat my team, it was like, oh, Greg Maddux fucking pitched a no-hitter, whatever the fuck. It's like, oh, John Smoltz's ugly pederast ass fucking beat us. Great. And now I look like John Smoltz, I feel like, and I don't like that I called him a pederast. So
yeah, I was just gonna check you about that, man. Does he look like a pedophile because of his male pattern baldness? Because I mean, hey, man, we can't help it.
I would say I was speaking more on the mustache, but it is what it is. But I got a very Smoltz look, so I should not throw stones.
Yeah, we're all going to end up looking like this guy.
Yeah. Yep.
I can never get these mirror fucking screens right. God damn it. But yeah, man, you beat my fucking Indians, Braves. I'm kind of pulling for you now that I live down here. They're playing the Dodgers in the playoffs. You know, in my Indians, soon to be Guardians, they're not anywhere near playoff contention.
The Guardians
at all.
Come on, just don't.
Dude, they went deep in the history of Lake Erie with that fucking name. I out of all the names you could have picked, I wanted something rock and roll related. I thought that would have been cool. You know,
the Shredders.
You know, the Slashers, the Cleveland Slashers.
Hell yeah,
that, man.
Well,
but
see, you Cleveland has to change their name, and yet Atlanta doesn't have to change their name, and they do the whole fucking tomahawk shit.
Oh. Well, I talked to my manager about that, who's a Braves fan, and they kind of done away with that. The chief, I can't remember the name of their guy, but they don't promote that merchandise anymore. Okay. You know, it's kind of like an Indians hat. Like I have a Chief Wahoo hat, but I don't want to wear it. But you know, I'm sure if I walk down the streets of Piedmont Park or something like that, man, I might see some guy wearing like an old school Braves hat with that emblem on it, man. Yeah. So they're trying to do away, and plus it's Braves, so I feel like they're safe. Indian is like actually
the Redskins or some shit like that.
Exactly. So they kind of like they're safe.
What does Florida State do? Does Florida State still do that? Because that was a big, I mean, college, that's like the wave, you know, in Florida State, them doing that. I wonder if they still do that shit. They're named after a tribe. So, I mean,
I think they're safe too because it's named after a tribe.
Well, maybe. Well, there you go.
We went straight racist with it. Where you're Indians.
It's just fucking it's the thing on the chew, the red man thing. It's just like a straight up single tier.
Oh, seems like you're petty. Seems like you're petty. Oh man.
Well, hey, I mean, you're gonna be rooting for the Guardian. Maybe that'll like change the fucking like the joie de vivre of the team, Steve. Maybe it'll you know, it'll get that bad juju off of them.
No, is Jim Tomey's kid playing? Yeah, come on, Manny Ramirez. Come on, send your boy to Cleveland. But on October 28, 1997, the Deftones released the album Around the Fur. And what an album that was, man. When I first got hip to NuMetal, this is one of the first albums I bought in that genre.
I'm not going to speak out of turn like I'm a Deftones aficionado. We talked about it in the beginning about how I was around it. I heard it a lot. One thing I just have to say that I remember loving about Deftones is that, and maybe he can't do it anymore, but Chino could modulate the screaming he did and make it sound almost like scratches on a record and shit. So he did something that wasn't like the, you know, typical death metal, like growling.
No, I don't like that.
Like that, you know.
He did it in a cool way. With the didn't they do that in The Ring or one of those like possessed kind of movies where there was like a high screeching yell?
Probably, but that's the thing. He would do the record scratch, but he could make his shit sound like it sounded like a woman screaming. Like he would do like some weird shit. It was crazy. So I hope he can still do that shit because I feel like guys in bands like this, the timeline for your ability to actually do it's got to take a toll on your throat and shit. So,
oh yeah, especially when you're going on tour and you know, My Own Summer. That was one of the songs off this album, man.
That's a banger.
Shove it.
Yeah, man. Like there's no way you can do that in your 40s.
Yeah, I know Deftones probably do still tour, you know, just like fucking Limp Bizkit and everybody does. It's like a nostalgia thing, but who knows what it sounds like. But back then, I just remember being in awe. Like, was that like the guy making that? Because it would sound like a woman screaming in the middle of a song, but no, it was just him doing that whilst like doing another scream and shit. It was wild, dude.
My Own Summer. Oh, go ahead.
Do you feel like there was something like Deftones New Limp Bizkit and Korn, it seemed like they were all like buddies for a while. You know, like they were all sort of in the same squad almost. They would be on each other's albums, they'd reference each other. It had like this Avengers feel where every once in a while you get a song with like Jonathan Davis and Fred Durst and shit. You know, you get like a team up almost. So I remember that too.
Chino Marino, he was in the Wicked song on Life is Peachy.
Oh, okay, there we go. All right.
Yeah, man. The breakout singles on this are My Own Summer, Shove It, and Be Quiet and Drive, Far Away. The album is 42 minutes and 22 seconds. Or actually, no, 73 minutes and 56 seconds. On vinyl, it's 42 minutes and 22 seconds. And they were actually signed by Maverick, which was Madonna's label at the time.
Oh, wow.
Little fun fact. Yeah, man. I don't know how they got to that point.
Yeah. Hey, fuck it. Madonna's into NuMetal, apparently.
But on that same day, when Deftones released Around the Fur, Hot Boys released Get It How You Live. And not enough can be said about Manny Fresh. This was the beginning of the Hot Boys and the Cash Money era for the 99 and the 2000. Whoa, there.
Dude, I love me some Manny Fresh, dude. He's alarming to look at. He looks like he has a baby head on a man's body, but
he looks like a dyke aunt now. But I love it. Yeah, fucking genius.
He was, I mean, one of the first like producers I was aware of in rap. Like I got like, I don't know. I wasn't into Hot Boys that much. I was into Juvenile and shit. And I was definitely into like the 504 boys and shit. But this guy, he was the one that like sort of made that sound. Him was Jazzy Fenzel, Jazzy Faye. What's up?
I was never a Jazzy Fizzle fan.
I honestly used to love him, Steve. And I like have been going through YouTube and just finding like old shit. And I went into a Jazzy Faye rabbit hole for a few minutes. I don't care for it anymore. I've lost my Jazzy Fenzel. Sorry, my friend. I respect you, but I'm done.
Yeah, man. Whenever I hear that little tag, Jazzy Fizzle, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna skip this one. But on that same day when Deftones released Around the Fur and Hot Boys released Get It How You Live, in 97, Mace released Harlem World. And that was a blockbuster album. In my opinion, didn't age well. I just listened to it the other day. And
there's a couple bangers that are still good because I've listened to this recently too. There's like 2 songs that aren't cheesy that I enjoy, and I wish I could call them out by name, but I always dug Mace. Like I always enjoyed the way he flowed. I enjoyed his rap style. He had like a little smooth style, you know?
Yeah, and then he became a pastor. And then
then it got weird. So is he still doing that now? Because I see people sort of like bringing him back into the fold a little bit. And is he a pastor still, or is he just back to being Maze?
Well, he came back to release some more shit as a rapper, and then he went back into preaching.
So he stopped smoking that la, Steve.
Apparently, man. Now this album is 66 minutes and 4 seconds. The releases were Feel So Good, What You Want, 24 Hours to Live, which is one of my favorites, and Looking at Me. You know, Hot Take Harry over here. Puff Daddy's not a real producer. I'm just going to put that out there. He's a crude businessman who just buys samples. He's not a Dr. Dre. He's not a Jermaine Dupri. He's not a Manny Fresh where he's creating these sounds from his own vision. He's like, oh, okay, that Diana Ross beat, I like that. I think we can do something with that. That Sting beat in The Police, oh, I'll buy that.
Yeah. And he's also like a talent acquisition guy, because then he got like 8 Ball and MJG after the Biggie thing. He started trying to buy other people in different areas and like made Bad Boy South, which that one song, I forget what the song was called on that 8 Ball and MJG album. It's like a banger, but
I can't even motherfucking.
I love 8 Ball.
I know what you're talking about.
Those guys legit badasses, but yeah, I mean, Puff Daddy, I like Bad Boy. I like shit that came out from Bad Boy. Obviously, everybody likes Notorious B.I.G. I like Maze. But there became a point where it was like either it was just him or it was like he'd get 8 Ball and MJG or whoever else. And then he started trying to just get people to be in a fucking band. You know, he did Making the Band and shit. So I don't know. I respect Puff Daddy just because anybody that can get that rich, I want to know what that's like. You know, I want to know how you did that. So, and also I will say Puff Daddy, say what you will about his rapping, his producing. Sometimes he'll go out and do a great performance in a movie. He was in a movie called Made that John Favreau made. It was like hilarious. You know,
he did his thing in that. Props where it's due, man. You know, all the stuff that you said. I mean, he's obviously a crafty businessman because he's been around since we were kids, man. You know, he was a part of Jodeci's success and Mary J. Blige in her early stages, man.
He was like a dancer. That's where he came. Wasn't he like a backup dancer? So, I mean,
a backup dancer. Yeah.
It's like being a stock boy at a grocery store and then owning the whole fucking, you know, the chain of stores, you know, going from that to that. So, you know, I don't know what else to say about Puff Daddy. I don't even know what he's doing now. I mean, the dude seems to now just be so rich that he just goes around and just like bestows Puff Daddy on people, you know.
Ciroc boys. That's his, you know, but going back to the liquor, man.
Fuck it. Damn, dude. I guess that's what it is. You get so rich and then it's like, what do we do now? Like, what is the thing? And some guy's like, liquor. What's your favorite liquor? See, I'd go right into the weed. That's my thing. I'd go heavy into the weed. I do my own brand. Rappers that are not making their own brands of weed or weed stores, like, I can't even imagine it. Snoop Dogg, there's got to be somebody in his ear, like, telling him to do something in relation to that other than raps and you know, but that would be my flex. I would be a weed guy. I'm curious, would you do liquor, Steve, or weed? I feel like,
honestly, man, I want to do both because I mean, hey, like, it's obviously a tried and true genre. People want to party and bullshit. So why not invest in it, man? And you know, maybe we're learning something as we're doing this episode.
I guess.
Let's get our funds together and invest in some weed and some liquor.
I mean, regardless, we're going to have a great party, even if we don't have a great business. So no matter what, but
yeah, man.
Go for it.
Oh, what are you about to say?
I was literally just my wheels were just churning. I had nothing to say.
Oh man, keep them churning. Man.
Marijuana affects the memory.
Tonight, after the Super Bowl, they're here. Leggy invaders from Venus on a mission of seduction.
Are you gonna keep us here and make us your sex slaves?
No.
Are you sure? I mean, that would be a pretty good evil plan.
Totally torture.
Shut up!
Cindy Crawford in the big 1-hour Third Rock after the Super Bowl on NBC.
All right, now 1998, in October 28th, man, South Park is airing the episode Spookyfish. Stan thinks his new pet fish is evil after it kills 2 people in his bedroom. Also, the parallel universe version of Cartman shows up in South Park, and everyone likes him more than the real Cartman, which is understandable.
Yeah. I get it. And I love this episode. We've talked ad nauseum about Trey Parker and Matt Stone being geniuses. And one thing that's just a little thing, it's not a huge thing. The Spooky Vision thing with the Barbara Streisand picture on the sides of the screen. I love that shit. I will recreate that for this segment of our show in some way. But that's what I love about South Park is that, especially back in the day, if they didn't like a celebrity, they would let you know that they did not like that celebrity in some way. They would make them look stupid. They would feature them as an asshole in some way. So I just had to say, I love that flex that they did with Spooky Vision because it's on there the whole time and it's just Barbara Streisand's ugly ass face. I love it.
I want to know the backstory. Like what is their beef with Barbara Streisand of all people?
I think it was probably something in relation to maybe like her just saying that their show was like garbage. Cause I think that was what their beef was with Rob Reiner. Cause do you remember them lampooning him quite a bit on the show?
Wow. Rob Reiner. Damn. I thought everybody loved Rob Reiner.
Well, there's like an episode where he's like, he comes into town. I forget what he's doing, but he's like trying to do something in town and he dresses up like a woman. He eats a lot. Like they just make fun of him in the episode. And I think it was just basically, this show was kind of big news just because of how shocking everybody thought it was. There we go. There's spooky vision right there. But back in the day, people would start giving their people would ask celebrities about shit and they'd be like, oh, that show's trash, or that show's just, it's obscene. Anything like that. I think they would just go out of their way to be like, man, fuck you guys, which I love. I love that.
Yeah, man, I always admire the petty in celebrities, man. And Trey Parker, or Matt Stone, or some of the pettiest motherfuckers, man.
But you know what's great about that? They're fucking genius too. They're petty, but they'll use that pettiness to make some funny ass shit. So they got Barbara on this one.
Hell yes. Now, a spaceship lands in a South Park and an evil-looking creature departs it, only to get rolled over by the bus. Now, Cartman walks up to Kyle, Stan, and Kenny, and he has a goatee. And they start roasting him, and Cartman uncharacteristically compliments their cracks.
You guys, I love you guys.
You guys, I never talk about how much you guys make me smile.
Yeah, he's got like a big boss man goatee, basically. So something's off. And they know it, but whatever. I guess he just has like his Halloween costume on. And Stan, he's having a little bit of a bad time because unfortunately his mom's Aunt Flo's in town for her monthly visit. And no one ever wants that. Because
whenever Aunt Flo's in town, his mom's a bitch.
Mm-hmm. I mean, who doesn't hate Aunt Flo? Let's put it like that. So his mom's just all over the place, catering to Aunt Flo, who looks like the Ghostbusters secretary as an old woman. But Aunt Flo does come with some gifts, Steve, which I always love. You get a nice little visit from a family member every once in a while as a kid. Maybe you get a little envelope with a $5 bill. Maybe you get a little X-Men, little X-Men toy, something. You never know. But
he's got gifts for Stan and Shelly.
Yeah, Shelly gets like a home entertainment system. It looks awesome. I'd love that. Stan, a fish.
Fucking fish.
Fucking fish. And not only that, the fish is like creepy. There's like a weird vibe to the fish. It doesn't blink. It's staring like Eddie stares at Fraser Crane in Frasier. So there's something off. There's something going on. I mean, Cartman's got a goat. He's acting nice. This fish is in this bowl. It's fucking acting weird as shit. Who knows what's going on here? It's Halloween, Steve. Ooh.
And while Kyle and Stan are outside talking, Cartman shows up. Stan asks if he brought them the money he promised from his mom. And Cartman says, yeah, right. You guys can kiss my black ass. And he says, you guys are hella stupid. And if he did have money, he wouldn't give it to these assholes. Now, they're thrown off.
Cartman I know that.
Yeah. Because just prior, the other Cartman with the goatee says like, oh, I'm gonna see if my mom can get some money and I'm gonna give some to you guys and we can go do this pumpkin patch or some shit like that.
Yeah. So shit's still off. Stan, he's trying to sleep. He's got this creepy fish in his room, and it's just one of those things where like you just like got that feeling you can't go to sleep. Something's weird. He feels the fish staring at him. And when he looks up, this fish is staring at him. So off-putting, but it's a fish. Get over it. So he goes to sleep. But then he just keeps waking up. And the fish still looking at him. And then it looks like, I feel like the fish starts like spelling shit out on the glass bowl. It does like a red rum. It spells out kill, I believe, on the bowl. So there I'd be like, all right, we're flushing this fucking thing. Fuck this. But no.
And now the fish has killed somebody. Stan's mom comes in and she thinks that Stan did it. And
my perfect little boy. Oh God, my baby boy.
My handsome little boy.
But I mean, what a mom though, Steve. I mean, she sees a dead body and it's just like, gotta get rid of the body. It's just, I got it, son. I won't let anybody take you away from me.
And she goes to bury the body.
Yeah.
And Stan Stan says that the fish, it won't get away with this. And then the fish now spells out the words, "Yes, I will."
So this fish is on one, but somehow Stan like goes asleep or looks away. And when he looks away, lo and behold, another body. There's another, because the fish is like just, I don't even know where it came from. But this fish is on one. It kills another guy. And Stan's mom, fresh off of burying the first body, is like, son of a bitch. Oh, my sweet boy. She's losing it.
And she still thinks Stan did it.
Yeah.
Like
he tries to tell her, he's like, something's wrong with this fucking, it's the fish. And she's like, okay. Oh, fuck. My son's a fucking killer. Oh, God. I love you, son.
And so now the boys are, getting ready for this little pumpkin carving contest, and Kenny brings a squash instead of a pumpkin. And Hartman with the goatee returns with a knife to cut the squash, and he busts out in the song. You sang it a little earlier. You guys are my best friend.
My best friend, thick and thin. We'll always be together, having fun all day, laughing around and playing away. We're best friends. Best friends are we. I love you guys. This is not Hartman. This is like, what's going on here? So they're at the pumpkin patch, and they're actually, I believe we see both Hartmans at this point. We now know there's two different Hartmans. There's the evil Hartman who's actually nice, and then there's a regular Hartman who's an asshole. And to me, I love goatee Hartman, but I love me some asshole Hartman. I don't like this new guy. He's fucking the vibe up.
Real Hartman is one of the goats in animated sitcoms, in my opinion.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, it was weird. Bart was like he was supposed to be like the bad boy, like when we were kids, like saying like, go, don't have a cow, man, and shit. But yeah,
in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And then Hartman is Attitude Era. Like, I feel like Bart is, Doink the Clown and Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels era, and Hartman is Stone Cold, Mankind thrown off the Hell in a Cell, fucking
Hell yeah.
The Rock,
what an
Venus
over the culture type analogy, Steve. I gotta say, I love it. And if to say Hartman looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin, he looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Give me a hell yeah. So I love that. And you're right. It is. That's a very that's a great point. So we're in the Attitude Era fully at this point. The fish is killing people. The fish has killed quite a few people. It may have been like 2 hours. This fish has got at least like a dozen bodies on it.
It's got a body count.
And Stan's backyard's looking like a fucking makeshift grave site with all these piles everywhere. And unfortunately for Stan's mom, not only does she have Aunt Flo, she's got her son killing people. Then Bar Brady shows up, Officer Bar Brady. And while he is a retarded person, he is the cop of the town. And he's just there trying to find out about these dead bodies. There's just something about it. And she's like, dead body? Well, I don't know anything about it. And he's like, well, can I just go out in the backyard and take a look? And for some reason, like every guilty person, Mrs. Stan's mom allows him to go in the backyard. And he sees all these dead bodies, but I don't see anything wrong here because he's Officer Bar Brady. He has no idea what's going on. But even though he has no, he's not going to arrest Stan's mom just fucking cracks him over the head, knocks him out.
Because she sees the dog digging up these bodies. And rewind a little bit, when he's talking about these reported missing people, one of the pictures that he shows is William Shatner. So once again, another William Shatner reference. So random. But yeah, Mrs. Marsh, she bonks him in the head with a frying pan and ties him up in the basement and takes his pants off for whatever reason.
Yeah. Honey. So yeah, Bar Brady's locked up Zed style, Pulp Fiction style. He's about to get fucking punished. And then we show up to school and it's Halloween. Chef's dressed up. Hartman's with the goatee. Is there two Hartmans now? I believe.
Yeah, they both pop up. Yeah.
And Chef is not into it. He's like, oh my God, children.
but he knows what's going on because the two Cartmans are explaining what happened to Chef, and Chef that there's the only logical reason for this is their parallel universe that's making all of this possible.
Yeah.
And now all the boys meet Aunt Flo, and Kyle asks, why is she shaking like that? And he's like, shut up, dude. She has Parkinson's.
And they talk to her and they ask their Parkinson's aunt, where did she get the goldfish at? And she's like, I think it was Dead Indian Burial Ground electronics store or pet store. I mean, and they're like, okay, well, we got to find that. And that doesn't send off any red flags, but apparently there's a pet store that was built on an Indian burial ground. So they go and they go to this pet store. Seems pretty, seems like a normal pet store. They go in, they're like, I want to return this. And the guy's like, God damn it. This is the 9th fucking one this week. I don't know what's going on. They're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, for some reason, all these pets are killing people. I don't know what's going on.
But before they even leave to go to the pet store, the fish kills Aunt Flo and Kenny. Yeah,
you're right. I mean, we expect that. Kenny was going to die, but Aunt Flo, she's dead. I mean, in some way, you got to assume Mrs. Stan's mom is really into it, but she's got to bury more bodies. This is just more work for her, and she's got to have dinner on. I mean.
And now that they're at the pet store, the Indian burial ground pet store, evil Stan and Kyle come out of the parallel universe to take good Cartman back. And now they run into the real Cartman who cusses at them and hits them. And they're like, wait, this isn't the Cartman that we're used to. And Cartman's like, oh, you looking for that other asshole. And so he points them in the right direction. And lo and behold, the boys, they actually win that pumpkin carving contest despite having a squash. And evil Stan and Kyle show up, and Stan has this gun called the gentrification gun that will send good Cartman back to their evil universe.
It's crazy. Do you how much thought do they put? It's crazy. They write the show so fast and they can come up with all this shit. It seems impossible, but I guess that's why they're goats. So it is what it is. Man. But yeah, the guy, the Indian burial guy, pet store guy, one funny thing that I just thought he said, he's like, I don't know what happened, but we were out. I pissed all over some graves, and then this thing came out, and there's like a portal. So like he opened this portal somehow by pissing on all the Indian burial or tombstones and shit. So they're evil Stan is after evil Cartman or nice Cartman. It's hard. It's kind of confusing. But Randy, Stan's dad, is back at the crib, and he opens up. He's looking for Stan's mom, and he opens up the door to the basement. He sees Officer Barbrady down there chained up. He has no idea what's going on. So he goes over to his wife. He's like, "Hey, Sharon, why is Officer Barbrady down in the basement tied up?" And she's like, "Oh, Stan killed somebody, and I didn't want him to get caught." And he's like, "Okay."
Why'd you take his pants off?
Yeah, that part.
That bothered him. And honestly, it bothered me, Steve. I'd be like, what the fuck? Barbrady?
She's stuck on, because she's stuck on Aunt Flo. It's just like, I can't believe she's gone. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, fuck Aunt Flo. Like, why is the cop in our basement with his pants off? I'm the same way, man. I wouldn't be able to get past that. Like, why did my wife have this guy downstairs with no pants on? Yeah. And
so evil Stan and evil Kenny, I believe they've also released all of the evil pets that were in the pet store that were the returns. So they're all going around killing people in South Park in hilarious ways. Like a frog jumping up on a guy and then just like a giant chunk of his head's gone. Shit like that. It's hilarious.
Froggy style.
Shout out Ving Rhames.
And yeah. And but they actually get zapped. Evil Stan and Kyle, they get zapped by the gentrification gun and they get sent back home. And now it's just good Cartman and real Cartman. And it's basically one of those deals where it's like one of us has to go. Which one will it be? Pick the right one. But
yeah, and
Cartman,
they wrestle. Cartman rips his goatee off, and now it's like who's who here? You're in a real Sophie's Choice. So,
and Cartman pulls off some shit where he says they have to both go for the good of the world, and the boys, they're thinking like, oh, real Cartman would never say no shit like that, and they played right into his trap because they actually shoot the good Cartman, and the real Cartman's like, hey, you guys are really stupid. You guys are hella dumb.
Oh man. And then we get another rendition of "You Guys Are My Best Friends," and classic song. I love it.
Oh my.
So, Halloween episodes, Steve, are you an Attitude Era? Are you a Goody Two Shoes era? What are you into?
If we're talking about these two episodes, I got to give it to South Park. The Treehouse of Horror. I mean, it's a long-lasting franchise. South Park doesn't have a Halloween franchise like that. But if we're talking about these specific episodes, man, South Park killed it.
Yeah,
Simpsons, they killed it too, man. But
I think if the every skit was the quality of the donut skit in Simpsons, it might be a different story. But yeah, I'm the same way. But I don't know, man. I'm trash. Anything with cursing in it instantly is better to me. So
now, on that same day when South Park aired Spookyfish, The Secret Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer it debuted on UPN, and it's considered one of the worst fucking sitcoms ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. It's basically a sitcom that is talking about the butler. It focuses on the butler of Abraham Lincoln, and this is 1998. I don't know why they greenlit this shit. It's a lighthearted take on the issue of American slavery. A Black English nobleman named Desmond Pfeiffer, chased out of the United Kingdom due to gambling debts, becomes President Abraham Lincoln's valet. In the show, he serves as the intelligent and erudite backbone of a Civil War era White House populated by louts and drunkards. I mean, it's been critically panned. This is actually one of the advertisements from the show. You can't get the full take on it, but they're promoting this thing as oh my God, the critics hate this show, and they're trying to make it like clickbait. This is before clickbait was a thing. It's like, oh my God, it's so bad. Like all the critics are saying it sucks. You got to watch the shit show. In hindsight, it makes no sense. Why would you want to highlight the fact that everyone thinks this thing sucks?
I mean, if it was a quality show and you did it just off of the tone of what you're like, if you describe that to somebody, I'd be like, that's not real. Who would make that? So if somehow they made a good show out of it and that was their marketing campaign, maybe it would be genius. But I mean, the only reason I even know about this show, maybe you've mentioned it to me just through talking on this, but there's a show called Boondocks. It's like a cartoon show that Aaron McGruber made. And he made fun of this specifically. And I remember when it came out in that, I was like, there's no way that BET or like that this came out. I think in the show, in that they said BET did it, and that's not the case, but it's fucking nuts. Like, it just like, who the fuck thought that was a good idea at all?
and it stars Chai. Is it Chi McBride or Chai McBride?
I think it's Chai. I think, but man, this is one everybody involved, I think, wishes they could have gotten back.
Yeah, dude, because he's done other things that were good. Like he was in Undercover Brother, and that was funny.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, that guy's like a pretty prolific. He's been in a lot. I mean, he's been in a lot of comedies. He's that guy, but yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes you just see things that happened in our lifetime, especially like entertainment. It's like, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, what the fuck? But I mean, there's shows that came out then that were dumb as fuck that didn't get this kind of thing. And I mean, how long did it last? Like an episode?
It lasted for one season, 9 episodes, and 5 are unaired. Now, it was actually parodied on Clerks, the animated series as well, in a couple different scenarios. It was ranked number 5 on Entertainment Weekly's top 50 TV bombs. And before the series premiere, several African-American activist groups, including the Los Angeles chapter of the NAACP, protested against the premise of the series. And on September 24th, 1998, a protest against the series was held outside of Paramount Studios. 5 days later, UPN released a statement regarding the controversy and stated that the network planned on delaying the controversial pilot episode, which never aired, and would instead air an alternate episode in its place. It just should have never aired.
Yeah, you should, as soon as this happened, you should have been like, you know what, guys, there was a misjudgment here somewhere. This is done. Everybody get paid, but this is never going to see the light of day. But UPN was just making dumb shit. I mean, they made Homeboys in Outer Space. It just seemed like they were going out of their way to like make ignorant, stupid shit. And it was just like, okay. I mean, am I surprised that they did this? Not really. But to this level, like to me, Homeboys in Outer Space is basically scraping the bucket of the barrel, but this is like bashing through the bottom of the barrel and finding a new low side. Like it doesn't make any sense at all. So
how do you make a sitcom about slavery?
Yeah,
like quit.
There's no funny take on it at all. It's just miserable shit. And like to put that tone to it is just. Honestly, the Abraham Lincoln character, his face is how I feel like that guy felt when they were taking. He's like, "What am I doing?
I got mortgages."
Yeah. That's. I mean, fuck. Shy McBride, no judgment on you. Get that money, but this was a bad one.
Fuck.
This is a bad one.
Now, any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways, young Matthew?
I don't have a specific callback. I just want to acknowledge we're in Halloween, and I watched. It happened in the 90s. Wasn't on this day, but in honor of Venom coming out with a new movie, I had loved the Spider-Man the animated series on Fox, and I watched a lot of the Venom related episodes. And I gotta say, Venom. I have not seen the new movie. I hope it's good. One of my favorite anti-hero characters in comic books. I love the character. I think he's one of the coolest looking characters. And I just think he's a cool, like Halloween-ish style thing to reference. And that's why I did, Steve. So there you go.
I'm wearing one of my favorite villains.
I love that guy. The plane ride from hell, Steve. That's the evil Ric Flair.
Oh yeah. Dirty After Dark. Yeah, man, this is our Halloween episode, I guess you could say.
This is it, man. This is it. We gotta go. I mean, I'm gonna do my Paul Bearer impression, Steve Deadman.
You gotta do something
spooky. I
spooky.
just noticed on Netflix. I just thought was funny. I would never watch it, or maybe I will. Yeah. Just high. There's like an Undertaker thing that they released with like New Day.
Not gonna watch it.
You're not gonna watch it. You're not into it.
No, and I like the New Day. I like Undertaker, but that looks like shit. It looks
like a choose your own adventure, Steve. Did you know that?
Oh, is it? Oh well, now you changed my mind. Fuck it.
It is, and that I think why it looks that way, because I'm the same way. I was watching it, and I was like, this looks very generic and very shittily acted. But I think it's because they have to give you options. You know, they have to like allow you to pick, so they have to kind of ham it up a little bit. And it's, I mean, it's wrestling. I don't know what we expect, but I was just interested in that and interested if you'd seen that.
Well, now I will. I mean, because I watched the trailer and I didn't know that it was like a choose your own fate kind of deal. That's very Sega CD of them, taking it back to the 90s. I feel like Sega CD had a lot of shit like that. But in 1993, Beavis and Butthead aired the 2-part episode Meet God and Meet God 2. And there you go. You're Zorro and I am a fucking, I don't know what. One-eyed person. But I just remember that because I think that there was a lot of hoopla about Beavis dying. in that episode.
Okay.
But he didn't really die.
They don't die. They just multiply, Steve.
And on that same day, Seinfeld aired the episode The Lip Reader. And that's a classic, like a lot of Seinfeld episodes, man.
I don't remember that one. Dude, Steve, I'm going to take a hot take here. I could leave it. I could have it or leave it or have it or take it or whatever. I'm not that into Seinfeld. Okay. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it. What's the deal, Steve? I have not seen every episode. I have not seen.
Okay.
Okay.
That's where it is. Then, you got to do how you do Frasier.
Okay.
You've seen every Frasier episode, and I can understand why it's one of your favorite, if not best of all time. But Seinfeld, I didn't care for it when it originally ran, but I did. I watched it when it came to Hulu from beginning to end. It's like, okay, that's clever. Very done.
This is not to take away any of its greatness. I'm just saying for me, I didn't get into it like a lot of people I know got into it, but I will acknowledge the greatness of a lot of those classic episodes, like The Bet, the one where they're just waiting to get
the parking
seated
lot
at the Chinese restaurant, like that. The one where Kramer's watching surgery. Those ones. There's a lot of classic moments. I'm just saying, there's people who say that Seinfeld, it'll never get any better than that, and I'm somebody that argues that. So,
there's a lot of sitcoms I would pick over Seinfeld, but it's, to me, one of the greats, man.
Well, in terms of success and like, I guess fandom, it definitely is. And I'm going to take your advice, Steve. I'm going to shut down the critic, the inner critic, the hater inside of me. And I'm just going to try to watch it with an open mind and see what happens. Maybe it will go up my list. But Office and Frasier and the other Martin, these shows, they're not going to be unseated easily. And I don't think that show will unseat those three specifically.
No, I wouldn't go that far. No, I mean, and it's available now again on Netflix. So
I was just so happy when we got worried that the TGIF shows were going to be unavailable, for them to show up immediately on HBO Max on something I already enjoy and use and have a password to. So happy. Thanks, HBO.
As usual, check out our sister shows Over the Culture every Sunday and every Wednesday, Crushgasm with Kendra. And also check out our buddies, B3F Podcast, who we just had an interview with. Their audio comes out Mondays, and I believe their video on YouTube comes out every Wednesdays.
Check them out. Funny. What's up, Joey? What's up, Steven?
Yeah,
What's up,
man.
y'all?
This is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s.